Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Let's talk about it. 10 years has gone by. Terminator Genisys. The budget was somewhere around $155 million. The movie went on to make $440 million, so it made money. But this is a reviled movie. It's like at 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Short story on how I got it. I've always owned the Blu-Ray. This was one of the first movies that came with Dolby Atmos that I remember, but I didn't have Dolby Atmos at the time. And I was walking through my favorite used movie store the other day in Soldotna, Alaska, where I found Nielsen's The Point on vinyl, an original 70s version. For $16, I bought it. And I don't even have a turntable, but I just love that album and the comic book that comes in it. But I also found a brand new sealed copy of Terminator Genisys really cheap, and they usually have a buy two, get one free sale going on. So if I pick up some movies, I get a really great deal on them. So it was still sealed, came with a digital copy and everything. And when I looked it up, I was shocked to find out that the 4K, when it was released, had an extra bonus Blu-ray in there of extras that have never been seen before. So I went ahead and picked it up, sat on my shelf for a few days, and I was in the mood for it. So I pulled it out the other night and watched it. First time I've seen it probably since it came out. I think this is a pretty darn good movie. If it did not have the name Terminator on it, people would have liked it. But I think it suffers from the same thing that the more recent Captain America suffered from. Perception. This is not what people wanted. I think Alan Taylor, the director, who also did the second Thor movie and a couple other movies, along with the people who wrote it and everything, had the best of intentions to do this right. There is a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of, from makeup effects to the actual Terminators. I mean, they really built all this stuff. In 2015, that is really rare. The cast is stacked. Not only did they get Arnold back, but Jason Clarke, Emilia Clarke, Jai Courtney, J.K. Simmons, Matt Smith, Courtney B. Vance, Lee Byung-hun. Amazing cast, totally stacked. Spent a lot of money on it. Wrote it. I mean, this took forever to get off the ground after McGee's attempt to make a Terminator. But like I said, I think nobody wants to see the original Terminator redone from another point of view with different actors playing the same characters. Nobody really wanted to see that. Not saying it's not a good idea, and the idea, spoiler alert here, but John Connor turns out to be the plot twist of the movie. And these are all really good ideas, but unfortunately, Terminator is beloved, and nobody wants to see that from a Terminator movie. They don't want you to see you change things from the past, even if it's an alternate timeline. We really want to, at least as far as this fan goes, take what we've seen and go forward. But movie after movie keeps trying to tie back in. And I know it's a time travel movie, I get that. But even Dark Fate tied back into some things before it tried to move forward. I think that was a detriment in that movie. Still not what people want. Now, some movies overcome that. I have seen some Marvel movies and some other movies recently where it really wasn't what I'll take Sinners, for example. It's not what I went to the movie to go see that night. I wanted to see something a little different. But what I got was a lot more than I expected. And it kind of blew me away because it was so good at doing something I didn't expect. Terminator Genisys is really good at doing something you don't expect. It is a well thought out, well handled science fiction film, big budget science fiction film, big movie sets, big effects, they did do a lot of digital stuff, but these are the largest future war scenes ever in a Terminator movie up to this point. Some of the biggest scenes ever in a Terminator movie up to this point. And redoing the original movie from a different perspective does kind of work here. I mean, the whole thing, when I was over, I was like, wow, that was actually entertaining and a really good flick. If it wasn't a Terminator flick, it would have been huge. But it is a Terminator flick, and so we have to take it as that. They took the characters we love, turned them on their side a little bit, and gave us more of everything. It just wasn't what people wanted. It's the same. Everybody wants Chris Evans as Captain America. Not that everybody involved with the last Captain America, the TV series, didn't do a fantastic job. Anthony Mackie is fabulous in the role. I take nothing away from any of it. I just did a review of Captain America, Brave New World, where I enjoyed it. But it's not what I sat down when I wanted to watch a Captain America movie. And it impressed me with what it was. Not as much as, say, Sinners. And this kind of is like that. Terminator Genisys, after 10 years away from it, coming back to it. By the way, the 4K is an upconvert from 2K, but looks fantastic. Like the HDR is implemented really well. There's a lot of bright stuff. There is a scene with multiple atomic weapons going off. It's bright, like ice-searingly bright, as it should be. The flames and stuff, everything looks spectacular in the film. The specular highlights and stuff, amazing. And like I said, I didn't have Dolby Atmos when I originally got the Blu-ray 10 years ago, but I do now. I didn't compare them because they should be the same soundtrack, but it's a really good Dolby Atmos soundtrack. I mean, almost reference quality. There's a lot of stuff that goes over your head, around behind you. There's things that pan from one to back, from front to back, to left to right, to up to down, as things should in a dimensional surround sound that we have now with the days of Dolby Atmos and DTS-X. All in all, I just think this is a miss because it's not what people wanted. But director Alan Taylor and everybody else involved really gave it a really good shot. And if you haven't watched it in a long time, it is much better than the 26% it got on Rotten Tomatoes. Honestly, if it came out today, I think people would like it more. It's a really good idea. It's just you don't want to see John Connor as a bad guy. You don't want to see some of these people do what they do, but it impressed me with what it was. They were trying to do something else. They were going to do a couple sequels to this. Unfortunately, it didn't do as well as they expected. I mean, they say if you make triple your money, you're doing okay. It made just under triple its money. I would think that'd be enough to go forward. Anyway, the cinematographer, there's some, I didn't mention the extras. Okay, so there's extras that came on the Blu-ray. Those are still included, and you get the 4K, which doesn't have any extras on it. And then you get a bonus disc. This disc was not released any other way, and it's 2.5 hours of behind the scenes. The first thing you can choose is basically one documentary divided up into multiple bits that are 10, 15, 20 minutes apiece. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes. And then there's about 10 minutes of a breakdown of one of the big scenes in the movie. 2.5 hours of extras that weren't included on the original release is in the 4K. Okay, that was worth the price I paid right there, even though I already own the movie. I didn't do an A-B comparison with the Blu-ray to see how much better the 4K looked, but the 4K looked great. I was impressed with it all the way through. The effects have a lot of texture. The people they got to that they made younger or kind of computer-generated or laid skin over, the things they did that way digitally, all look really fantastic in this movie. It's only 10 years old. The visual effects are still great. So I think people need to revisit Terminator Genisys. I thought it was pretty good, and it'll now get into my regular watch of, this is kind of an alternate timeline take on the idea, but it's really not bad. It looks great in 4K. The Dolby Atmos soundtrack is incredible. I highly recommend it. Terminator Genisys gets a thumbs up from me after all these years. What do you know? Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way, including a Hong Kong film that's never been released in the U.S. until now. I can't wait to tell you about it. Coming up on ROCKFILE's podcast. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and have a spectacular day.